Hi, kids. Can any of you tell me what time it is? You're right. It's story time! And I am just so happy. Yeah, how you been since the last time I saw you? I hope you've been doing well. Well, look, I've got a story for you, and I am eager to get into it. In fact, I'm so eager to get into this story that I'm not going to even call roll. Now, I noticed, or you may have noticed, I didn't call roll last time. It wasn't an accident. I just decided it wasn't necessary. I gave it a lot of thought. And it occurred to me that if you're watching, you're here. Okay, so anyway, everybody gather around. All the little ones get up close so you can see. Tall kids get in the back. Okay, little ones up close. Tall ones in the back. Tall ones. Josh, get back. Okay, all right. Okay, all the little kids up front. Okay, here is the book we're going to read today. It's called Goggles, the Bear Who Dreamed of Flying. And it's written by Jonathan Gunson. Goggles, the Bear Who Dreamed of Flying. Picture, I presume that's Goggles standing on the hillside with his little toy airplane. Once there was a very small bear who dreamed of flying. Everyone told him he was too little to fly, but he always wore flying goggles just in case they changed their mind, which is why all of his family called him Goggles. Can you see the little goggles on top of the bear there? Yeah, he always wore those. Huh? He dreamed about flying at breakfast. He dreamed about flying when tucked up in bed. That's right there in bed. Can you see that? At breakfast, in bed. He even dreamed about flying in the bath. Boy, he had what I'd call a flying obsession. And he always took a jar of honey with him because all that flying can make a bear hungry. Yeah, look at that. He's got a jar of honey here in the bath. He got a jar of honey on his breakfast table. He even had a jar of honey here, there in the bed with him. So he always carried a jar of honey with him. Ooh. But even though Goggles was a very small bear, he knew a very big secret. His grandparents, Groville and Wilma Wright, had built an airplane. They called it the Wright Flyer. Can you see that? His grandparents built that. It's the Wright Flyer. So this is his here he is. This is Goggles, and there's his grandparents. The ones that built the airplane. They wanted to be the first bears to fly. Well, I guess how you do it, if you're going to be the first bears to fly, then you got to be the first bear to build an airplane. Okay. But they couldn't find an airplane fuel that would work. So they built an airplane, but they couldn't find an airplane fuel that would work. Something to put in the fuel tank. Okay? On the first try, it crunched into a tree. On the second try, it crashed into a haystack. And on the third try, it ran into a pond. Swoosh! So there's the plane running into a pond because they can't find the right kind of fuel for it. Wow. What are they gonna do? That's not good. Oh, look at these different fuel tanks. if only they could find the right flying fuel. They tried lemonade. They tried custard, but it was too gloogy, if that's a word. And ketchup was too slurpy. And chocolate was too gooey. All these different things they tried to put in their airplane for fuel, and none of them was suitable. Wow. Then one day, Goggles had a great idea for fuel. He whispered it to Grandpa. Can you guess what it was? Huh? Have you guessed? Honey! Use honey for airplane fuel. What a great idea! Wow. At last, the plane would fly. Well, they put honey. They tried putting honey in the airplane, and that seemed to work. Wow. The great day arrived for the first flight of the honey-powered Wright Flyer. So they put honey in the airplane, and all the other animals gathered around to see this airplane fly for the first time using honey for fuel. Takeoff was at sunrise, and a big crowd was invited to watch. Everybody wanted to see this. This was going to be history. Goggles wanted to fly too, but everyone said it was too dangerous. So while no one was looking, I see trouble coming. While no one was looking, he sneaked onto the back of the airplane. Grandpa Growville started the engine. See the engines going around? Started the engine. The propeller whizzed and whirled. The Wright Flyer began to move faster and faster. And then the plane soared into the bright blue sky. Zoom! Wow. Wow. Look at that. It just soared up into the sky, over the rooftops, looking down over the village, higher than the clock tower. There he goes, powered by honey. Wow.
You could have played a cassette tape. You could have listened to an 8-track tape. If you knew it.
Higher and higher it flew. Soon they were sailing around the clouds. It was so beautiful. Wow. Sailing around the clouds. Have you ever looked up at the clouds and they have all different shapes, and sometimes they look like different things? Maybe it looks like I don't know, a big lion, or maybe it looks like a big teddy bear. Have you ever seen that happen? I have sometimes, and it keeps changing too. And look at this. Look at this picture. They're flying up there among the clouds. And if you look closely, doesn't the cloud look like bears? Huh? You know, let me share something with you. Grandpa used to fly up there among the clouds just like this. And I would fly through the clouds in an airplane, and they would be on all sides of me, and they would just be billowing, and they would be changing shapes, and it would just be so beautiful, and I would be up there all alone, sometimes just enjoying it. You know, it reminds me of a song that I once heard. There was this lady that wrote a song many years ago. Her name was Joni Mitchell. And the name of the song was called Both Sides Now. And the opening lines of the song was, rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. I looked at clouds that way. So beautiful. And that's how I used to see them when I flew. Anyway, let's get back to the story. So it says, soon they were sailing around the clouds. It was so beautiful. But then disaster! The Wright Flyer ran out of honey and began to fall from the sky. Look at that, it's falling. It ran out of honey. Oh my gosh. If only we had more fuel, cried Grandma Wilma. Oh, what a disaster. Suddenly, just like the music says, Goggles popped up from his hiding place. Emergency honey, he cried. Look at that, he brought some honey, just what they needed. Wonderful. Grandma had no time to be shocked to see him. She quickly poured the honey into the fuel tank. The engine sputtered, then roared back to life. Vroom! Ah, look at that. It's going back up again. Oh, that was close. Oh. The airplane flew safely back to the bare field and landed in front of the screaming crowd. Isn't that wonderful? Look at that. What a wonderful story about Goggles the bear who dreamed he could fly. You know, it's a fictional story. Fictional means it was really made up. But there are some truths in this story also. Looking here on the other page, it says the Wright brothers were the first humans to fly. That's interesting. Before the Wright brothers, flying seemed like an impossible dream. But the brothers were determined to succeed and built a plane they called the Wright Flyer. That's a picture of the real Wright Flyer that the Wright brothers built. Yes, it is. Hey, let me share a little bit of information with you that maybe you knew or maybe you didn't know. Did you know my mother, which in many cases is your great-grandmother, and for some of you it's your great-great-grandmother, actually used to help build airplanes? Yeah. When she was younger, she worked for a company called Lockheed Aircraft Corporation, and she used to actually build airplanes. And she would tell me about some of the airplanes, and some of the airplanes she wouldn't tell me about because they were a secret. Yes, your great-grandmother actually built secret military airplanes. They're not secret anymore. For example, have you ever heard of the SR-71? The fastest plane ever built? It flew higher than any other plane ever flew. She helped build that. And I also always wanted to fly. So that's why this story is so dear to me, because this is my story. When I was a little kid, I dreamed of flying, just like Goggles. I want to show you something. Hold on a second. First of all, this is your great-grandmother. Her name was Annie. In fact, Anne Michelle, your name is in honor to her. She lived from 1922 to 2007. Yeah. Her full name was Annie Geneva Collier. Yeah. And I always wanted to fly ever since I was a little kid. And when I was a little kid, that's what I look like. I don't know if you can see it all right. I was probably about 6 years old, and all I could think about was flying. I wanted to be a pilot. Yeah. And you know what? I became a pilot. Yep, that's me. I hope you can see it. That's me standing next to my airplane. Yeah. You can be anything you dream of being. I did. So, dream big. There's a big life out there waiting for you, and you can do it. Why? Because you're strong, you're smart, and you're loved. Till next time, bye-bye.